Now, if you're given a simultaneous equation like this to solve, how do you go about it? Now, if you look closely, you can notice that the two equations are non-homogeneous. Now, what do I mean? The first equation is a linear equation, where the powers of x or y is 1. But the second equation is a non-linear equation that gives like a curve, because the powers of x and y here is more than 1, which makes it like quadratic equation or a kind of a curve, but not a straight line. Now you are asked to solve for the values of x and y simultaneously. Now how do you do this? Now the best approach we are going to use is the substitution, whereby you substitute the linear equation into the non-linear equation, then you simplify. Now how do you do this? Now from the first equation, you have x minus 3y plus 1 is equals to 0. Now let's make x the subject of formula. What do you have? You have x is equals to, you move the other part of the equation to the other side, you have what? 3y minus 1. Now we're going to substitute this 3y minus 1 for x in the second equation. So how does it look like? Now the second equation, you have x squared, so you put what? 3y minus 1 squared. Then minus 3 into x, 3y minus 1. You have your y. Then plus y squared is equals to what? 11. Now let's expand this. Now how do we expand this? So algebraic expansion, we have 3y minus 1. 3y minus 1. 3y times 3y will give you what? 9y squared. Because 3 times 3 is 9, y times y is y squared. Now 3y times minus 1 will give you minus 3y. Minus 1 times 3y will give you minus 3y. And minus 1 times minus 1 will give you plus 1. If you simplify further, you have 9y squared minus 6y. Because minus 3y is minus 6y plus 1. So this is the expansion for this. So we're going to write what? 9y squared minus 6y plus 1, then minus, now this 3 and y will multiply the brackets, so I can combine them together. I can have them minus 3y into 3y minus 1 plus y squared is equals to 11. So we have 9y squared minus 6y plus 1. If you expand the bracket, minus 3y times 3y will give you what? Minus 9y squared. Then minus 3y times minus 1 will give you plus 3y. Then you have plus y squared is equals to 11. Now let's simplify by adding and subtracting like terms. So we have y squared plus 9y squared, then minus 9y squared. Then we have minus 6y plus 3y plus 1 is equals to 11. Now if you notice, 9y squared minus 9y squared is 0. So we have y squared minus 6y plus 3y is minus 3y plus 1 is equals to 11. Also, we can also have y squared minus 3y plus 1 minus 11 is equals to 0. Now we have y squared minus 3y minus 10 is equals to 0. Now this is a quadratic equation. Now we have to find the values of y. So it means we're going to have two values of y, right? So how do we do that? We multiply the first term and the last term. You have minus 10y squared. Now what are the factors of this term? And when you add them, it gives you minus 3y. But when you multiply them, you have minus 10y squared. Now if you look closely, you're going to have plus 2y and minus 5y. So you can see plus 2y minus 5y will give you minus 3y. But plus 2y times 5y will give you minus 10y squared. So we can substitute this term into minus 3y. What do you have? You have y squared plus 2y minus 5y minus 10 is equals to 0. Now let's factorize. What is common here? Y is common. So y into y plus 2. What is also common here? Minus 5 is common. So we have minus 5 into y plus 2. So what do you have? You have y plus 2, y minus 5 is equals to 0. Now, so it means that y plus 2 is equals to 0. That is, y is equals to minus 2. And also, y minus 5 is equals to 0. Therefore, y is equals to 5. Now, we have two values of y, which is minus 2 and 5. What does it mean? It means that we're going to have corresponding values for x. So now, what happens when y is equals to minus 2? How do we get our x value? Now let's pay attention to this equation. We can use this to get our x values, right? So it becomes x is equals to 3 into your y is minus 2 minus 1. So your x is equals to minus 6 minus 1, which is what? Minus 7. So it means that when your x is minus 7, sorry, when your x is minus 7, your y is what? Minus 2. Now, what is the value of x when your y is equals to what? 5. Use the same expression to get your x. So your x is equals to what? 3 into 5 minus 1. So your x is what? 15 minus 1, which is equals to 14. So what does it mean? When your x is 14, your y is 5. So we have gotten our values of x and y. Because of the nonlinear equation, we're going to have two values of x and two values of y. So we can write them in coordinate form. So the first value is what? Minus 7 and minus 2. That means your first value is x, which is minus 7. Then your y value is minus 2. And you have what? 14 and 5. So this is the solution to the simultaneous equation above.